just not a whole lot different guys from last night. You watch the tape and just nothing going in the running game. We just struggled offensively, staying on the field on third down. So it's very frustrating. Defensively, it's a two-score game with 10 minutes to go. We logged a lot of snaps. Started trying to create some plays there at the end, and ended up giving up a couple big runs. But again, I thought our players played hard. Just we got to do a better job offensively of putting them in a position to be successful. Finish a little better on defense than we did in the ball game. But disappointed, obviously, with the outcome of the game. Injury-wise, Spencer Easton-Riddle was getting an MRI at 4. I haven't heard back from it yet on his knee, but I don't know a lot more than that. And I'll update you as we go on the other guys. We've had several guys in today. I didn't think there was anything that was causing anybody to miss the Clemson game. So I'll open it up from there.
Will, it's Dave. When you look at the offense and how many guys that are just not there right now, not playing because of injury or whatever, just how difficult is it to come up with a game plan of how to utilize what you have and try to be effective?
Well, I mean, it's affected us, but that's part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game, and you got to adjust. And I think based on hearing today that I think we'll get Ortre back definitely. I think we'll get Mon Denson back definitely. I think Tavian Feaster will be back for us. I think Travis Dawkins, a week off for him will mean an awful lot to get those guys all back. Brian's dealing with a meniscus, and then we'll hopefully get him back. So A.J. Turner, we feel like we'll practice Wednesday this week. So getting some of those guys back certainly going to help, and that's. But at the end of the day, we just got to find ways to be more productive than we've been, and we haven't done that.
Will, this is Josh. Will you lean into the spoiler role as motivation for Clemson with your guys, or would you rather they be more internally focused?
Well, if our guys can't get excited for this game, which they will, then there's something wrong with them. It's the most important game we play against Clemson, and our guys understand that.
Will, this is Colin. I'm just curious, what were your conversations like today with the offensive staff, and kind of what was your message to them about trying to maybe get more consistent for you guys?
Well, Colin, I mean, again, obviously my messages haven't worked each Sunday, so we got to try and find ways to be more productive and put guys in different spots to be successful, and we just haven't done that. I mean, so whatever we're doing is not working, so we need to change, and that's what we'll look forward to some more changes moving forward as far as what we can do to be successful and be more productive.
Well, not to get into kind of too many specifics, but what do you look forward to changing maybe on the offense? Is there one thing in particular, or is it a kind of a multitude of things?
It's a lot of things. We've got to be more productive, and we'll just as best we can put our guys in best situations so they can be successful.
Well, Dave, go ahead.
This has been just when you went over the film. What kind of stood out about what you guys kind of got from DeCarrion when he was working at quarterback?
We thought he did a nice job. He had a nice hole ball on the sideline on the cover 2 look there, and took it. We had a little yogi route there. He hit the Kyle Markway. It was a nice ball. So we did some nice things in a limited possession.
Will, Dave, again, did you get to talk to DeCarrion today? How is he feeling?
Yeah, I saw him today. He's fine. He's fine. So we'll continue to move forward and see how things go.
Will, what is a yogi route?
It's like a 5-yard option route by the tight end that he can, based on the leverage of the defender, he's going to work inside or outside.
Well, Dave, again, obviously you've been involved in a lot of the great rivalries with Auburn, Alabama, and Carolina, Clemson, everything like that. You mentioned before this most important game you play. How much do you guys emphasize the rivalry aspect of it, or do you prefer to keep it mostly on the X's and O's?
No, we emphasize it a lot as far as our guys understand that, playing at South Carolina, you're generally going to get asked the question, how many times you beat Clemson? And we haven't done that since I've been here. And it's the most important game in this state, and our guys understand that.
Well, this is John. Going back to the offensive staff a little bit, do you change anything in how the offensive game plan is put together with various staff contributions, or how they go about their week, or how do you look at anything from that standpoint?
Well, it's a collaborative effort, offensively, no different than it is defensively, in all situations, staff-wise, and from offense or defense, John. We put together the run game plan together as far as, Coach Wolford and Coach McClendon and Coach Bentley, and then Coach Brown, obviously, and then the pass games obviously goes back and it involves Dan Warner a lot, and the overall game plan obviously with Dan and Brian, and then Brian calling the plays on game day. And again, we've got to find some different ways to get our guys in more situations where we can create explosive plays down the field. And then, our formula, when we've been able to run the football, we've had some success. And we haven't done that the last 2 weeks, and obviously the Missouri game, whether it's be more creative, whether it's create a different personnel package, whether it's create a different look, whether it's play with tempo. I mean, whatever the case may be, do something that obviously the last 2 weeks we haven't done, because what we're doing is not working.
Yeah, how is Brian kind of handling things? Is he still confident in himself, or what's his mindset? What are his emotions like at this point?
He's frustrated like everybody, including our players and our entire staff. And Brian's a competitor. And you look at Brian's first year as coordinator, we averaged 31 points a game, improved ourselves as far as total points and rushing and passing and in every category, and had an outstanding year. And this has been an unfortunate year. He did a lot of good things for us.
Will he speak on the call-in show on Thursday night like T-Rob did earlier this year?
No, I'm actually going to do it. They thought I was going to be out of town like I was last week or whenever the other open date was, but it turns out my schedule's been different, so I'll be there.
Will, and this is Colin again. I guess in terms of evaluating, Ryan's play at quarterback, is it kind of hard to evaluate what he's been good at, what he's been bad at, with the offense being so inconsistent and guys not playing maybe as well as they can around him?
Yeah, Colin, I think that's very fair to say. I think that the inconsistencies around him have created more issues for a very young player at the most important position on the field. And I think that's a very fair assessment of a hard to evaluate. But again, I think Ryan's done some really good things for us. And again, we've got to play better around him, and he'll be the first person to tell you that he'd like to have made some better decisions and been more accurate with the football and some different things as well. So we've got to continue to work and practice, and that's what's going to be good this week to narrow some things down that we feel good about going again playing against a very good Clemson defense.
Will, Dave, again, you guys are obviously able to exploit a lot of Clemson's secondary last year in the game. They've got new personnel. You guys do too. Do you see some of those other same kind of things in what they've been able to do this year?
We have not spent a whole lot of time on Clemson. We've been evaluating us at this point. So we'll start working on them, and we'll know more as we continue to move forward.
Will, I think you mentioned Kevion Mullins last week. Did he get into the game, or what's going on with him?
No, he did not. But he's been up for the first time, really practicing with us. As far as getting guys game ready, and certainly is a guy that we're excited about, and to see how this week goes and continue to progress and see if he can get some opportunities.
Will, this is Colin again. I guess in terms of with Brian and working his knee back, how do you go about dealing with him in the bye week? Do you kind of limit what his role's like in practice, or do you kind of throw him out there and see how the knee responds?
Well, no, our training staff will be in charge of that, and they'll let me know whether or not he can go or he can't go. If he can go, he's going to practice. If he can't, then he won't. So that'll be totally dependent on them. But my deal is if a guy can practice, he's going to practice. If he's cleared medically, if he can't, then obviously he won't.
Hey, Will, it's Phil Kornbluth. Based on what you said about Brian a few minutes ago, would you feel like at this point it's your intention that he'll be back as your offensive coordinator in 2020?
We're going to evaluate that when the season's over with. Like we always do.
Sure.
Well, I think it was mentioned on the broadcast last night that Carrion hasn't been 100%, and that's affected his practice times. What was he able to do going into the week? Has he been able to be the kind of playmaker that y'all thought he would be able to be after the hamstring injury? Has he ever gotten back to that point?
John, at this point of the season, I don't know anybody that's 100%. But certainly he's been cleared to play, and as far as his health is concerned, as far as the hamstring is concerned, and so again, I mean, if he's been cleared to play, then certainly I thought he looked good as far as some of the runs last night when he did run. He did play more receiver for us last night than he has been. So again, I don't want to put a percentage on it, but nobody's 100% right now.
Thank you.
Y'all good?
Hey, Will, one more real quick, Coach. Just going back to play calling in the second half last night, you guys got away from the running game early in the third quarter. You ran the ball once at about the 10:47 mark, and then not again in the quarter on your possessions. Did y'all just what did y'all see that led you to get away? The game was still in the balance. What did y'all see that led you to get away from the running game at that point?
Well, we had zero success at that point running the football. And, obviously you don't want to get into a one-dimensional game, but you got to evaluate where you are as far as the runs and what kind of yardage you're gaining, and are you staying ahead of the sticks. And at that point of the game, we had zero success. So.
Okay.
Y'all good?
Yep.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Thanks.